And we are live right now. And the first thing I want to know is, who's going to write into Larry Hama? Who's writing into the G.I. Joe letter page? Who's going to back me up on that? All right. Let me share this in the various places that it goes. La-di-da-di-da. Hello, Peter Ang and Caden. Nice to see you. 1 second real quick. Let me share this. Should have been ready to do this before we started. Wow, everybody's here. Hello, Mark Hoke and Byron, Delvis, Nerdlord. How's everybody? Hi, Matt Rubin. The storm that we are experiencing is actually not a shadow of anything. It's we are actually having a really big storm here right now, and it's possible severe weather. So, FYI, if we get a tornado warning, I may be signing off rather quickly, but we'll see how it goes. 1 second here. Let me share this in the various places. Wrong thing. Share this in the various places it goes. Okay, that's what I meant to do. Twitter. Oops. Let's see here. Alright, it's storming really strongly now. Yeah, it's really coming down out there. It may get loud too, so sorry about that. Alright, who snuck in here? Hello, JK, Cobra Viper 11. Hello, Evans. Alright. So, there. Alright, posted on Facebook and Twitter. Hopefully some folks will join us. Happy to see everybody here. Some of our favorite folks. Yes, and Mark Hoke reminds me that he's going to be doing a special Zanzibar video, so do check out Mark Hoke's YouTube channel. He will have a Zanzibar video coming soon. Alright, there we go. So anyway, yeah, it's really coming down out here. We've had several tornadoes in the state. I don't know how safe it is, but we're gonna go with it and see if we can get through the entire live stream without being caught up in the tornado. Hello, SEO Tour Review, Johan, Lazarus, Brandon Knight, nice to see you. Hi, JC. Yeah, and hello, Action Figure Expert and Ryan Sweeney. Hello, Michigan from the United States. So, yeah, I usually don't get too worked up about these things. We have pretty strong storms here frequently. But, yeah, I got the TV's on in there, and we've got quite a lot of warnings. So we'll just have to see if we can continue. I may not have any say in the matter, because if the power goes out, then I will not be here. So if I suddenly disappear, it either means I was hit by a tornado or the power went out. So I'll stick around as long as I can. So yeah, hello everyone. This will be a regular live stream, not the 3-hour live stream. The 3-hour live stream was fun but exhausting for me. So hello, Adam Airwolf. Nice to see you. Yeah, don't go dying. I'll try not to. I'll try to stay alive for all you guys. I got too much to do. My schedule is too full for me to die. So, in fact, I think the schedule is so full that I'm not allowed to. So I should be sticking around. But we will be safe. We will keep an eye on the weather radar, and we will be smart and prudent, but we'll see if we can get through a live stream. Thanks, Solid. I'm hoping we have some good luck with the weather. Based on what I saw on the weather radar, we're definitely going to get a lot of rain, probably some lightning and thunder. But beyond that, I don't know. So hopefully not too much. Anyway, so yes, welcome to the storm, everyone. It's been an eventful few days. Robert says it stormed when he saw Endgame. You could hear it over the movie. That must have been a loud storm. Very loud. So, yeah, it's been an eventful few days. There's some thunder. I don't know if you heard that, but that was fairly loud here. So, projects that we're working on. Made some major progress on those over the last few days. Still can't announce a lot right now. So, excuse me. So, I can't tell you a lot about it, except that progress has been made. Hey, Aquadump, it's just raining down in Norman/OKC. Well, that's good. I'm hoping that we just get rain here. But at this exact moment, we're getting a lot of rain really fast. So, yeah, it's going to be one of those kinds of evening. I had this crazy idea earlier of maybe I would try doing the live stream, outside again, go out to the back patio. Well, that is so much for that idea. That was before the storm hit. So, yeah. No rain in Kuwait, Mike Lopez says. So, yeah, I don't know how well you can hear the thunder, but, yeah, it's going to be one of those kind of nights. So, yeah, Project Duck and Cover, yeah. So, yeah, I'm kind of at a loss because a lot of the stuff that's being worked on right now, I can't tell you about. It's for upcoming projects. So, I can't say, but I'm excited about it because I know stuff that's going to happen, and I know stuff that's going to be announced before too long, and I'm just really excited to show it to you. And unfortunately, I don't really have any new G.I. Joe stuff that came in. I did show and tell last time, and I don't have anything new to show or tell. So I think you just stuck with me. We'll find a G.I. Joe topic to talk about, though. Kaylee Matthew Commendador says, how's the Patreon poll review going? It is ready. For those on Patreon, you will get your early access to it. That should be on Friday. It is ready to go up on Sunday. I should be farther along on the review after that, so I've got to play catch up a little bit on the next review. But the one that's coming up this Sunday, ready. What do I have around me? Let's see. I have the same stuff I had last time around me. I've got the. That's. I don't remember if I showed this or not, but I got the Cobra Rage here. Interesting little vehicle, the Cobra Rage. I still have. Let's see. I still have Destro here. I still have the Find Your Fate book, and I still have the Action Stars cereal box. Oh, how I wish the cereal were still in here. I get hungry. So yeah, just that stuff. It's the same stuff I had around me last time. I haven't cleaned up, unfortunately. But I have to clean up pretty soon. Hello, Nyquist. I have to clean up pretty soon because I have to make space because I got to start the next review. So all this stuff will be cleaned up and put away in the near future because we got to move on. Mr. Commendador says, topic, do you know Rattler Repros? I'm aware of them. They make repro stickers. They're clear-backed, even the ones that are supposed to be paper on the original. That's interesting. an unusual choice to go with that. The very few, very rare times that I got repro stickers, I used Cobra stickers, and Cobra, that's what they were called at the time. But they were nice in that they were die cut, so they were cut so that you could use them just like the original stickers. But I mean, they were not exactly the same as the original stickers. There were some minor differences. I don't really use I can't talk. I don't really use repro stickers now, but at the time I didn't get the Rattler repros, so I can't vouch for what they're like. Hello, Rezakai. He says he's been thinking hard about getting a dozen or more Black Major Repro Cobra Blue shirts to Army build. Well, they are out there. And that is, I guess, an easy way to Army build. The original, the original Cobra Troopers can run a bit high, mainly because people are Army building them. Brandon Knight says you should make a video where Susan gets on your case about cleaning up your toys. Yeah, she does get that would be a true video. There's a table over there that she's been wanting to use for one of her projects, but it's got all my stuff on it, and so I really need to clear that off so she can have it. So that's a project. That's something I need to do. I really do need to do that. Lazarus says, Steel Brigade is an expensive Army build. I'd like to see somebody Army build the Goldhead Steel Brigade. That's master level Army building right there. Retroblasting has links for repro stickers. So there you go. Retroblasting has some links for you. It's Apple Blossom week. Wasn't Apple Blossom a character in Strawberry Shortcake? I'm no Strawberry Shortcake expert, but I believe Apple Blossom was a Strawberry Shortcake friend. So a good week to Apple Blossom. Lando and Underbear says, what's your stance on Army building? Good, bad, indifferent? I'm indifferent to it. For the most part, there are plenty of figures out there, and everybody who wants to Army build really probably can. It will drive up the prices of those figures, the Army builder figures, which is a bit inconvenient for like people who just want one. So that kind of sucks. But you got to keep in mind that these toys were mass produced. There are a lot of them out there, and so having a moderate sized army, I don't think is really going to affect anybody too much. So it's not something that I actively do. I mean, I have kept a few Army builders when I have some extras, but I don't go out there looking to Army build figures. I've just sort of accidentally Army built a few. It's not my thing. I really want, like with all other figures, one good clean copy is what I really need. Nyquist says, Broken Arrow is such a great name for a city. Love it. Well, thank you. I am in Broken Arrow at the moment. Oklahoma has a Broken Arrow. We also have a Broken Bow. If you watched the Star Trek series Enterprise, the very first episode, in fact, the very first scene in the very first episode, takes place in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, which I didn't watch it back in the day. I only recently went back and watched that series, and that kind of threw me for a loop. I thought that was kind of funny that that they started in Broken Bow of all places. But hey, apparently Broken Bow gets Klingons. I guess that's the thing they have out there. They got coyotes and Klingons. Nerdlord says, which is a better Marine character to you, Gung Ho or Leatherneck? That's a tough choice. I really like both of them for different reasons. And for pure nostalgic reasons, I might have to go with Gung Ho, but Leatherneck is probably the better figure, I think, for obvious reasons. I mean, the sculpting, the color, and all that. I probably have more nostalgic attachment to Gung Ho, but Leatherneck is great, and I've always liked Leatherneck too. It would be really tough for me to choose between the two of them. Mr. Commendador says he believes Rattler Repros makes repro chest logos for Cobra troops, mainly by using stickers. I think that, I mean, if you wanted to do that just so you could have a logo, I don't think that's that big a deal. Plus, for any future collectors, it's going to be obvious that that's not original. That's a sticker. BJ Bishop says his grandfather was from Wewoka. From Wewoka, Oklahoma. Well, that's cool. Well, nice to meet... You'd be surprised at how many families specifically in California, who have Oklahoma ties. Because that Grapes of Wrath thing and the Great Depression, where, basically, like, almost whole towns were leaving Oklahoma. Who is audio cutting out? Hello. Let me know if your audio is cutting out. Hold on. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. No sound. No sound. Uh-oh. Okay. I don't know what happened there. I didn't change anything. I didn't touch anything. Okay, good. All right. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. The microphone is plugged in. I've got the audio readout here, so I know it's picking up. But we may have had either a bandwidth problem, or it might have been a YouTube problem. So anyway, welcome back. Welcome back. Jack, after the G.I. Joe movie, was there an instance where Hasbro could have won you back? Well, that's a good question. It's a good question, and I'd say the answer is sort of like yes and no, because after the 87 movie, there were actually some really good figures and vehicles that were released, but because I had already walked away, I didn't know about them. So if I had stuck around a little bit longer, I might have seen these and really enjoyed them, and I might have stuck around longer. But the problem was, once I walked away, I wasn't looking at the stuff that was coming out. So I just wasn't aware of it. So they could have won me back if I had known about, like the Slaughters Marauders vehicles. I think are great. There are some great figures even through the 90s with like Big Bear and Rampart and these other figures that I didn't know about. I didn't know anything about them until I was an adult collector. So, yeah. Gray Fox suggests upgrading equipment with Sonic Fighter's technology. So now I wish I had a Sonic Fighter so I could like have one handy so I could play the little sound effects. See, I've got all this clutter around me, all these figures and junk, and I don't have any Sonic Fighters. Hold on. Everybody, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Testing 1, 2, 3. I replugged it in, and I'm hoping that it's just a connection issue. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. We can hear. Okay, we can hear. Okay, good. Okay, all right. I think the cable wasn't getting a good connection, so I'm hoping that fixes it. Sorry about that. Okay, we're back, and we're back. So that's that would have been perfect for April Fools. We could have done a silent live stream. That would be hilarious. I wonder how long people would have stuck around. Just see how long they would stick around before they just finally give up. Use sign language. Hopefully that fixed it. I think this cable wasn't getting a good connection, so I just made sure it's plugged in solidly. So hopefully no more audio issues. And the storm even seems to be letting up. We're still getting a lot of rain, but it hasn't been quite as loud. So maybe that's good. My Snake Eyes hoodie, yeah. Peter Ang says, I can accept Larry Hama killing off Quick Kick, but I cannot accept the fact that he kept Cross Country alive. The choices you make. These are the fortunes of war. No one can predict who will live and who will die. And sometimes it just ain't fair. Kyle Commendador, how was Captain Marvel for you? It was fine. It was not by any means my favorite Marvel movie, but it was enjoyable. I haven't felt the need to go back and watch it a second time, but I thought it was fine. Nyquist, what did Stalker do to deserve the Creeper name? At the time, though, the word did not have that meaning. It took on that meaning later on, and just unlucky for Stalker that his name is now associated with something very creepy. And that, I think, for that reason, you're not going to get a G.I. Joe movie that features Stalker as Stalker. If there is a Stalker character, they'll give him a different name. And even though Stalker is my favorite, I understand the necessity of doing that. There are other unfortunate names. They're not going to have Skidmark in a movie either. Or if they do, they will rename him, because they're just not going to have Skidmark. They just won't. So, and speaking of the comic, I'm going to be regularly reading the IDW series by Larry Hama. I need to go back and look at some back issues now, because I want to kind of get caught up. Everybody else, if you haven't tried it yet, I encourage you to try it. I don't typically ask you guys to go out and buy things or spend money on things, except I have asked you to, give to charity before, but I don't usually say, hey, everybody go buy something. Because, I'm from a working class background, and, even if something doesn't seem very expensive to somebody else, that still may be expensive to you. So, you got to take care of your real life responsibilities first. Comic books and toys are much lower priority. However, if you are inclined to, and if you have the funds, I do encourage people at the moment to check out Larry's current work. Larry is still working very hard on the G.I. Joe comic book, still churning it out. I don't feel like he has... I don't think he feels like he has a lot of the support of the G.I. Joe fan community in that project. And the thing is, even if the comic book series isn't entirely to your liking, if you were to get it and, write in and express what you would like to see more, I believe that the comic book series would have more of what you would want in it. Larry, in historically, has been, responsive to what fans are interested in. But one thing that I know is that not enough people are even writing in to tell them what they like, what they don't like. So if you are inclined to, I would ask that you join me to read the current run of the comic book, and for each issue to write something, send something to Postbox the Pit, say something. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I feel like I should have done that a long time ago, and so anyone who feels like doing the same, I encourage you to do that. So that's the PSA section of this live stream. The storm has picked up again. It's fairly strong. So yeah, but we're still safe. We're still safe at the moment. No urgent warnings at the moment. Byron says toys are just under electricity and above water bill. Priorities. We may get through this whole live stream. The storm out there is really bad, but we may get through this whole thing. I just hope we don't lose power. And hey, we're like halfway through already. We're fine. We're gonna make this. We're gonna make it. No storm can stop us. Mr. Commendador says, any figures that I'm interested in getting lately? Probably too many to list. I've been kind of looking for targets of opportunity. There are still several sub-teams that I need to fill out a bit, like Sky Patrol and Night Force. There are even a few Tiger Force that I still want to get. I really would like to get the Tigerfly and Recondo version 2. Man, I'd really love to do that. Hello, Green Yeti. Thanks for joining us. What's on my radar right now? Probably too much. I should probably pare it down a little bit, but I'm also trying to, put back some funds for Joe Fest. I'd like to have some money for the dealer floor so I can pick up some good deals at Joe Fest. So I really should probably be thinking about that. B. Bishop says, do you have the Hootie Coco Hall of Fame? If not, will you? And who and what would be in the first class? That's an interesting question, but I'm going to need some clarification. Is that a Hall of Fame for anyone? Like, creators or fans or just people that I like? What are the qualifications? That's what I need to know. Okay, yeah. Glad to see everybody here. This is cool. Jack says, do you ever get a G.I. Joe knockoff as a gift from someone who didn't know better? Oh, yeah, I'm sure I did. I can't remember a specific example, but we had a ton of the core, and we had some of the Remco figures. We had stuff, but I didn't mind because we'd still play with them. Messed Up One sends a $10 super chat. Thank you. He says, missed one half of the show, but I'm here. Well, glad you're here, Messed Up One. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Better late than never. Yeah. So a Hall of Fame for G.I. Joe figures? Is that what you're asking for? Because I might have a hard time coming up with a list that isn't the obvious stuff that... you can't have a Hall of Fame of G.I. Joe figures without having Snake Eyes in there. If you don't have Snake Eyes in there, then something's missing. And you got to have Cobra Commander. And whatever you think about Duke, Duke probably got to be in there. You know what I mean? So a Hall of Fame of G.I. Joe figures would probably have a lot of the ones that you would expect. That storm is getting quite loud right now. Really coming down out there. So yeah. But we still have electricity, so cool. Yeah, Flint, definitely. Peter Ang says, I don't need Duke, I need Scarlet. I think Snake Eyes feels the same way. Commandador says, do you know Molotov liquid chrome pens? They look good for restoring Sky Patrol vehicles. I know those pens. They do in fact look like they would work really well. I haven't tried one yet, but I would think that they would work well. They seem to do exactly what you would want it to do for chrome. Now, I don't know how well it holds up because it's not the vac metallizing process, so I don't know if it would hold up to wear. But it seems to apply very nicely. Brandon says he had the Corps and American Defense because family couldn't always buy G.I. Joe. And I understand that. And my family couldn't always afford G.I. Joe either. So that's why I really didn't complain about those knockoff figures. Plus, later on in our collecting experience, we would do a lot of customizing, and we used a ton of those parts from the knockoff figures. A lot of times the knockoff figure parts were not compatible with G.I. Joe parts, but sometimes they were. So sometimes you could use the core figure arms on a G.I. Joe torso, sometimes. So we used those figures for customizing a lot. And before then, we would use them as extra guys, not necessarily as Joes, but like for another army or for non-G.I. Joe troops or for a different enemy other than Cobra or whatever. We use them for all kinds of different things. So there are still a lot of uses for those knockoff figures. Massage says the Corps always had weird proportions. Yeah, a lot of times they did. And we noticed. I mean, for us it was obvious that they weren't G.I. Joes, but we still had plenty of use for them, so I can't really complain. Leah says, look, my Barbies wore G.I. Joe combat boots when they brought back the 12-inch figures. Well, there you go. See? Actually, that would be kind of a fun way to make Ken certainly more interesting. But you could very easily have Army G.I. Joe Barbie. I'm not sure how Mattel would feel about that. Don't let the word get out about that. Mattel may sue you, but still, it'd probably be fun. Leah says they wouldn't fit Gem. Yeah, that's correct. That's one thing that I think always puzzled people, is that they didn't do Gem in the same scale as Barbie, which you would think they would, so that kids could use their Barbie clothes for Gem and vice versa. But I'm no expert on that, but Susan over there is the expert, so she tells me these things. Articulated Toy Den says knockoff figures were my Cobra flunkies, sort of a subgroup. See, that's a good way to use them. That's a great way to use them. That all makes sense, and we had a lot of fun with them. Brandon Knight says, hey HCC, would you ever make a review video about the age when everyone was making G.I. Joe style toys? I've thought about doing something like that in the context of doing a sort of a history and retrospective on the 3 3/4 inch figure, and just kind of talking about specific milestones in in the 3 3/4 inch or 1/18 scale action figure. So I've thought about doing something like that, and I would do something like that sort of in that context if I did it. But I've been thinking about that project for a couple of years now, and I haven't made a lot of progress on it. Cobra Viper says, shout out to Red Shadows and Baron Ironblood. There you go. Blood for the Baron. Adam says he loved my first video. Well, thank you. I'm glad somebody does. Delvis says, would you add in Fisher-Price Adventure People to that? Absolutely. Absolutely. I had Adventure People figures. Those Adventure People figures are sturdy. They are almost indestructible. It's amazing. And the Adventure People figures, at least some of them, were really good for like civilians. Like if I needed like a civilian, like or somebody that some hostages that had to be rescued or something like that, the Adventure People figures were really great for that. So it was nice that they were in the same scale. And of course, you can't forget Star Wars. You know, that's the big one. So yeah, I thought I might like do a video that's like the history of the 3 3/4 inch action figure. But I feel like instead of just getting photographs of those figures, I would like to have just samples of each stage of each one, each stage in the progression, and each significant toy line. So it would take me a little bit of time to get the pieces that I would need, but I feel like I should have the pieces if I'm going to review them. Hello, Phil. Phil was here. Phil was also there. Adam says, anxiously awaiting second video in that line. Maybe someday. It's surprisingly a lot more work than I was expecting for a few minutes of video. So I'll never say never, but that one might take a while. Beta Ray Bob says, don't forget Micronauts. Absolutely, Micronauts is very important to that history. Yeah, and then not all 3 3/4 inch figures were O-ring figures, so kind of the introduction of the O-ring figure was also significant. Rezkai says, understanding articulation is where G.I. Joe beat Star Wars was important. I saw that in an older video of yours. Yeah, the articulation mattered. It became a war between Star Wars collectors recently since the new Star Wars film came out. Yeah, I'm not going to bring the Star Wars war. I'm not going to bring that in here. I'm going to let the Star Wars fans fight that out. Last man standing. I'll let them have their little war. I'll be happy to stay out of that. But yeah, the articulation on G.I. Joe figures was amazing compared to Star Wars at the time, and I liked Star Wars. I was collecting Star Wars before G.I. Joe even came out. SEO Toy Review says 3 3/4 inch history video might be a good collab project since you don't have to own each line. Pair up with Star Wars collector and a MASH collector and so on. That could be a good idea. That's one way to do it. It's just it was going to be a big project no matter what. So it'll be something that'd be a long-term project. But one thing that Star Wars had that G.I. Joe didn't have was it had like big movies, like the biggest movies. But as a kid, I like Star Wars movies as well. I love Star Wars movies. But like, even though G.I. Joe didn't have like a big budget live action movie on the screen, this was the era of Rambo and Commando and Predator and all these Top Gun. all these military-themed movies. It was like Hollywood just exploded with military-themed movies. And every one of those movies, they had, uniforms and vehicles and weapons that looked a lot like the stuff that you could get with G.I. Joe toys. So even though G.I. Joe didn't have a movie or a series of movies out, it had like dozens and dozens of movies that were basically acting like advertisements for G.I. Joe, even though they weren't G.I. Joe. Mike Lopez says, just got a Mauler. Oh, congratulations. Just need the antennas and heavy metal to complete it. When will yours be ready for review? I think I need one more antenna, and I need that. I need all of Heavy Metal's accessories. I need the microphone, one that is, in fact, authentic. That's easier said than done. But I also need the rifle, or the submachine gun. Those things, the straps break on them a lot. I gotta nail down his accessories, and then it'll be ready. The Mauler is actually the last piece that I need from 1985. If I can complete the Mauler, I have the tank and I have most of the parts, but if I can complete it, then all of 1985 will be complete in my collection. That's how close I am. Sorry people are talking bad about Globulus, Green Yeti, but you have to understand some people don't like Globulus. It's, you can't have everything in this life, and some people are just not going to like Globulus. Should Billy from Billy and Mandy join Cobra? I don't know. Robbie says Zartan rocks Cobra. Yeah, Zartan. He was literally in a rock and roll band. So yeah, he Cold Slither. Yeah, there you go. Zartan rocks. James says I had a purple figure glove I could use as an enemy for G.I. Joe sometimes. Sorry, the storm is now getting much louder here. Mr. Roboto says, you got me interested in the Sergeant Savage figure. Cool. I got one on eBay, complete in package for $9.99. Yes. Yeah. And like I said in my review, I like Sergeant Savage. I don't dislike the toys, but they're honestly, they're not in high demand. So you can, if you're interested in them, you can still pick them up for a song. You can still get them, even still in the package. Not super expensive. Thunder's getting pretty loud out there. Thor is obviously quite angry at something. I think he ran out of beer. Thor ran out of beer, and he is pissed. Mark says he's 6 subscribers away from doing a rare Destro review. So if everybody wants to check out Mark Hoke's channel, just click on his name there. And if he gets 6 more subscribers, he's going to do a rare Destro review. Really wanted a Jaws figure from James Bond. Did they make a Jaws figure? I never actually checked. Do they? Did they? Now I gotta see. Somebody tell me? Did they make a Jaws figure for James Bond? I gotta see. Let's Google it. Here's something we can all do together. Let's Google. Well, look at that. Oh, for James Bond Jr.? Is that what you're talking about? Let's see here. Oh, interesting. Let's see. Does it look anything like the actor? Oh, yeah, for the James Bond... Yes, I just found it. Well, and he's got like a metal jaw. All right, okay, so, all right, confirmed. That is something that exists. Yeah, Thor's out of beer and pizza, and he's taking it out on all of us. Yeah, the weather, it's kind of been fluctuating. It gets really loud and heavy, and then it kind of cools out a little bit. So, but I think we're going to make it 15 minutes. If I can survive 15 minutes, then we'll have completed the live stream without tornadoes. Kevin Maley says they got a Sideshow Jaws figure. Well, that's cool. And yeah, see now, okay. I'm getting a warning on my phone, and it's a flash flood warning in the area, but not a tornado warning. It's not a tornado warning. It's just a flash flood warning, and we're on high ground here. As long as we stay here, I think we'll be safe. So you guys stay with me. Stay with me. We're on the high ground. So we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Rezkai sends $5, so thank you very much for the super chat. What vintage G.I. Joe vehicle / playset that never got made you wish had been even in the modern era? My personal thought was the spider crawler from Mass. Oh, you talk about like in the Mass Device miniseries, like when they were going up the mountain and they had like the spider crawlers. That would have been really interesting because they did have to get the vehicles basically up the side of a mountain where they couldn't drive. So that was that's an interesting choice. I like that idea. I always go back to I think they call it the Aspid, the Cobra transport helicopter that was used in the comic book a lot, all the time. I thought it looked like a great vehicle. I thought it would make a really cool toy. To my knowledge, that has never been made as a toy, like an actual official toy. I think some folks have customized some, but Hasbro has never released one. So even though I'm not really into modern toys, if they came out with that, that's one I'd have to think about getting. I would definitely think about it. It would tempt me. I would be tempted. So, yeah, the helicopter is the one that I always think of. Solid says, time to initiate Project Duck and Cover with your weather. Not yet. We're still pretty safe here. I did just get a flash flood warning on my phone. So as long as we're on the high ground here. So as long as we stay here, we should be fine. And David got a flash flood alert there, so apparently we're all getting in on the fun. Michael Terrell says, "Why didn't Hasbro make the jet Cobra used in the first G.I. Joe episode?" That's a good question. That also would have been a good one. Now later on, they did come out with the. I think it was the Liquidator, which was sort of, kind of like that jet. Not exactly the same, but similar. And so you could consider that to be, a toy version. Yeah, the Liquidator. A toy version of that jet from the first episode. It was not exactly the same, but close. So if you haven't seen it yet, check out the Liquidator. That might be a toy that you're interested in if you always wanted that Cobra jet. Do I have the G.I. Joe collection insured? I don't have any special insurance on it right now. Why are you asking? You're not going to come here and take it from me, are you? I'm close to the point where I need to, so I've actually looked into insurance a little bit, and I'll probably be taking that step in the near future. The collection, for the longest time, I didn't think the collection was large enough or significant enough to insure, but it's getting to that point. It's getting to that point where I probably should probably should get some insurance on it. Rudy Zisu's Science Fantasy Experience. I love that name, by the way. He says, hey, not been able to catch the live show for a while. Well, glad you made it here. Hope you're doing well. I am doing well, thank you. Do you have a favorite Joe/Cobra animal companion? I've always enjoyed the Croc. You like Crocmaster's crocodiles, which are actually alligators, I think. Let me think about that. I think my favorite animal companion is probably Timber. I really like the wolf. I think the sculpting on the wolf is nice. I think it's really cool that Snake Eyes has the wolf. He was closely tied with the wolf in both the cartoon series and the comic book. So I think, I really like Timber. I think that one might be my favorite. Like from the vintage line, the vintage era, I think that's what I would go with. Michael Terrell says, how would everyone feel if Hasbro made a 6-inch version of Joe figures like Star Wars Black Series? Now, I'm not a modern collector, so it wouldn't make any difference to me one way or the other. So it's just a question of, what would people buy? It's not something I would be interested in, but I know the Black Series is popular. I don't know if that popularity would transfer to G.I. Joe, but it might for some people. Bishop says, am I going to listen to AC/DC Thunderstruck / Metallica Ride the Lightning after this live stream? I'm not going to listen to it. I'm going to be living it. That's going to be my life. We're down to 8 minutes, and the storm is picking up again. So this is a big one. This is a big one. But still, no tornado warnings, so we're doing all right. Only a flash flood warning. We're on the high ground, so we're okay. We're okay. Rezakai says 6-inch Joe figures have been rumored at Hasbro events / panels recently. Well, that's interesting. I would just have to see. But, I mean, I wouldn't be getting them because I'm not a modern collector, so I guess it would just depend on if there are enough modern collectors who would be interested in a 6-inch line and to make it profitable. I don't know. There are enough Star Wars fans who would do that, but are there enough G.I. Joe collectors who would make a 6-inch line profitable? I don't know. That remains to be seen. The blind man gave the wolf the name Timber. That's true. In the comic book series, that's true. And those scenes with Snake Eyes and the blind hermit and the wolf, those are still some of my favorite scenes in the entire animated series. I love those scenes. And for those who are worried about, a movie with Snake Eyes when he can't talk, look at those scenes and look at how much drama they got out of those scenes without Snake Eyes talking. All you have to do is have a good writer and do it right. You can get a lot of drama and have a lot of impact without having a lot of dialogue. Green Yeti, yes, he can talk about Transformers in the live stream. He can talk about whatever he wants. As long as it's, not trolling and, not rude. And also, I think we're still in the no endgame spoilers territory. We're not quite ready to spoil that yet. So, maybe at least for another week, we'll still say no endgame spoilers. But we're getting to the point where everybody who's going to see it probably has seen it, so we're getting to the point where you probably can't complain too much about spoilers. Doug says they should be utilizing Larry Hama for the movie. Why they don't? They should. even if they don't necessarily use any of his ideas, they can at least keep them from making mistakes, like big mistakes. See, Rodimus is going to see Endgame on Friday, so nobody spoil it for Rodimus. I hope you like it. Of course, I hope you'll enjoy any movie that you see, but this one in particular, I hope you enjoy. David Sharp says, is Marvel issue number 22 review coming soon? It is coming. It will not be right away. It will be in May. So sometime in the month of May, it will be hitting, but it's not coming up this week or next week. I've got other things in mind, but I'm trying to do them once a month. It may not be at the same time every month, but it'll get here. It'll get here in May. And I'm looking forward to it. We're getting into a really fertile area of a fertile period of G.I. Joe in the comic book. Really, really great time for the comic book series. I'm really looking forward to these next issues. Thank you, Mark. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Brian says, do you like the G.I. Joe versus Transformers comics? He's referring to like the G.I. Joe versus Transformers like from back in the 80s. If that's the one you're talking about, the series that Larry wrote, I remember thinking it was okay at the time. I haven't gone back to look at it again. I did read it when it came out, and I remember thinking it's fine. I wasn't like blown away by it at the time, but it wasn't. I didn't think there's anything really wrong with it. I do have the series now, so I need to go back and relook at it. I need to look at it again. It's been a long time since I've read it, so I think it deserves another look. We got about 3 minutes here. We have survived. No tornadoes. We have not gone over the rainbow. We are still anchored here on the ground. I was trying to make a reference to the movie Twister, but I couldn't think of one. So, James, Bumblebee gets clobbered by Roadblock's 50 cal. Yeah, I remember that. But I really need to reread the series to say what I currently think about it. It's been too long since I've read it. Okay, preemptive adios, B. Bishop. Thanks everyone for being here. It's been a lot of fun. I really look forward to these live streams every week. It's one of the things that helps keep me motivated. I don't know. I don't get to interact with people in other formats as much as I would like. I don't get to reply to comments as much as I would like. So this is, for me, a really fun way to talk with you guys directly, and it's come to be like the highlight of my week every week. So thank you very much for being here. Kevin Maley asks, are wife and kids at home safe? They are. And right now we're just getting a lot of rain, so I'm hoping like the severe part of the storm has passed, so everything hopefully will be calming down a bit. So yeah, but heck of a storm tonight, Anyway, thanks everyone. It is about time to shut her down, and I am gonna go look at the weather radar one more time just to make sure there's nothing really bad going our way. But I'm sure we'll be fine. And got a new video coming for you Sunday. I got a new video, I think, going up tomorrow, but I haven't finished it yet, so I need to finish it. But we got stuff coming up for you soon. So I will say goodnight to you guys. We will do it again next week, and I will see you later. I'm going to go ahead and stop it now. And good evening. Thunder.